Hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 of Sheth vs. Puma from the NASL Season 2 Grand Finals, spawning here in the bottom left position of NASL Shattered Temple as the Purple Zerg. Playing from Team Liquid, our loser of Game 1, we have Sheth. His opponent and winner of Game 1, spawning in the top right position as the Green Terran. Playing from Team Evil Geniuses, we have Puma. Now, there was actually one thing that I wanted to mention in the Game 1 that I didn't get to mention, and that is that I wanted to briefly apologize for my previous casts, because there was actually a huge public outcry after my first casts here being back home in San Francisco, because apparently the audio settings were like messed up and it was too loud. I don't know what exactly it was. My volume settings were exactly the same as they were in Los Angeles, but maybe it's the room. I'm in a completely different room here in San Francisco, a much bigger room, so maybe you guys were getting more echo. I have no idea. Whatever it was, I have turned the volume down now. It should be much, much, much better. So please comment down below and let me know how my audio settings are right now. If I'm coming through clearly, when I listened to the recorded files, they sound good to me right now. But let me know down below in the comments. I want to be sure that my audio settings are just perfect for all of you guys there at home listening. So let's jump into this Game 2 right now, spawning in the bottom left position again. Sheth looks like he's going to be going for a fast expansion. He is cross positions on this map. He does know this because he did actually scout with this Overlord immediately to this close by air position, and because he is not at this close by air positions, he knows that he's going to be cross positions. On this particular version of the map, it is impossible to spawn in close by ground positions. So actually, this is the only base that Sheth needs to scout, and he will know exactly where his opponent has spawned. One thing also is Puma most likely also knows where his opponent has spawned, because by this time, Puma will know that an Overlord would have poked into his base by now, and the fact that he hasn't seen an Overlord poke into his base, that it pretty definitively says that his opponent has spawned cross positions. Now I say pretty definitively because it is very possible that Sheth, being the baller Zerg player that he is, poked in here just a little bit, saw maybe the edge of this gas geyser, and then cut either up and across this high ground up here, or that he just came down along this front position, and that Puma never actually entered Puma's sight range. So it is still possible that Sheth be in this position, but the fact that he didn't actually see that Overlord, a pretty good indicator that his opponent has spawned cross positions. So, looks like Sheth going, following up that hatchery with a quick gas as well as spawning pool, and it looks like he's now going to be mining that gas, going to be getting up that early Zergling speed, and I almost expect that he's going to be pulling guys off of this gas geyser almost immediately. This is something that Sheth does. This is something that actually a lot of Zerg players do very frequently. Now, this is one thing I'd like to note, is that the Overlord movements here of Sheth are actually really, really good. The fact that he came here, scouted this position, a lot of newer players will just kind of leave their Overlord there for a little bit longer, but the moment Sheth saw that he wasn't here, constantly re-rallied that Overlord right to the natural expansion so that he can start to peek in on this natural and see if Puma's going for any kind of fast expansions. Likewise, Puma also going for a very, very smart play here. The fact that he knows his opponent was cross positions, he sent out an early 2 Marines to go check out this position, because like I said, a lot of Zerg players will tend to leave their Overlord here for just a little bit too long, or they will tend to go up this way after a delay, and Puma was trying to take advantage of that with those 2 Marines here, trying to pick off that one Overlord, but that Overlord was already out of the way there for Sheth. So now that Overlord is now up in this upper position. Now, Sheth did move in, trying to get a good scout off here with these Zerglings. Does see that the Hellions are now poking out here for Puma. He does have that reactor factory up now, double producing those Hellions. We do have 2 already out on the map. 2 more are going to be on the way. Is he going to continue to produce more, or is he now going to be swapping that factory off of that reactor? In the previous game, we saw that he only went for 4 Hellions all game long, but ooh, looks like he did manage to get up into the main. He's going to start to deal some damage. It, of course, takes 3 Hellion shots to take out a drone, so that means with 2 Hellions, he's going to have to get 2 shots off, 2 rounds of fire off on the drones if he's going to want to be able to do some damage here, and if he kites nicely, he'll actually be able to pick off this Queen off creep. Those Queens are very, very slow. Looks like he might even get a couple more Zerglings here. In the meantime, 3 Zerglings going to be poking up into the natural expansion of PUMA. See that no expansion has gone down. More Hellions just now popping out here for PUMA as I think he might be able to pick off these Zerglings. These Zerglings are they might get that Hellion. That Hellion's getting awfully low, but it looks like no, the micro of PUMA is just a little bit too good. And Sheth now going to be poking out across the map with some Zerglings here. Notice this unit positioning here by Sheth. A lot of lower level Zergs will leave their Zerglings right here at the front of their base. But he knows his opponent has Hellions, and Hellions are very fast. So he's going to be positioning his Zerglings out here so that once these Hellions move into this base, he can actually come in from the back with the Zerglings and get a good surround on those Hellions, trapping them in his base with that Spine Crawler and these Queens, which PUMA does not want. So now we can see that PUMA is going to be throwing down that orbital command. It is now up and mining at his natural expansion. One Overlord peeking into the base here for Sheth does get taken out here, and but Sheth is moving in with this other Overlord. Does actually see that these workers are mining here, so he's going to know that his opponent did go for that expand. He's going to feel a lot safer getting up a lot more drones. Notice he is mining back on gas again. The Zergling speed is completed. He's supply blocked here temporarily just because of that Overlord that did go down, but now it looks like he's going to be correcting that as a couple more Overlords are on the way. We do now have +1 Carapace coming down on the way here for Sheth. Brilliant thinking there by Sheth. This is something that you want to do a lot, but hold the phone here as we do have a drop coming down here from PUMA, or not a drop, but a big push out here with a lot of Hellions. We do have a few Marauders here, as well as some Zerglings. All the Zerglings getting roasted quite quickly there. Those Zerglings coming in from the back, but the Hellion count is just a little bit too high here from PUMA as he does clean up all the Zerglings. The Marauders do get cleaned up though by those Queens. The Queen count, Queens are just so good at that early defense, able to hold off that push quite nicely here, and now Sheth continuing to produce lots of Zerglings, but PUMA trying to force a lot of Zerglings. This is exactly what PUMA wants. He wants his opponent producing Zerglings and not any kind of drones. That's exactly what he does not want. Now, I want to go back to this point about the ground Carapace, because I've mentioned this several times in casts before, but this is actually very, very important. As a Zerg player, you always, if you can only get one upgrade, you want to go for Carapace first, because it allows your Zerglings to survive 2 shots from siege tanks as opposed to just 1. So a lot of Terran builds rather are focused on doing a lot of early Marine siege tank pushes, and so having that early +1 ground Carapace can really, really, really help you a lot. We do see Lair Tech now on the way here for Sheth. Looks like it did delay his gases by just a little bit, just because of that early aggression that he got. He started that Lair Tech, and then that push came, and he got a little bit distracted there, but now we do have the Lair Tech on the way, and notice once again, as soon as he gets that Lair started, he starts those other 3 gas geysers. Now going to be trying to get up lots and lots of gas. Actually quite oversaturated here at this base here, but it looks like he's gearing up to take his 3rd expansion at the gold, as is PUMA, as PUMA does have this command center already going down, bunker going down at the front as well. Lots of Hellions still controlling the middle of the map. He was very careful to pull those Hellions back before they got taken out because he wanted to keep them alive. Now going to be poking into this gold expansion here, seeing that Sheth is gearing up to take that expansion here very soon. Looks like Sheth now going to be taking the expansion in this back corner. Destructible debris still up there. It's not that common for Terran players to be taking down their opponents' destructible rocks this early in the game, as it's very, very hard, as Zerg units tend to be more mobile than Terran units. Now, it looks like PUMA going to be moving out here with a small group. I think this is going to be a small group of Marines here for clearing creep. Almost positive we're going to be seeing some scans going down here. Might even pick up here and go for a drop into the main. Lots of Zerglings now out on the field here for Sheth, though. There comes the scans coming down, trying to push back some of that creep here. This is brilliant play here by PUMA. Something you absolutely want to do as a Terran player. Always be pushing back that creep. Looks like lots of Zerglings now moving in here. They are going to be able to get a good surround here, and everything almost gets picked up there by that medevac. All the Marines, anyway, the Hellions, managed to get cleaned up there, and now PUMA going to be using the remainder of those Marines to be going for a drop, but Sheth going to be going for a massive counterattack as PUMA is forced to pull all of his SCVs off the line to be able to repair this bunker and defend some of these Marines, but the Zergling count might just be a little bit too high here, as holy cow is repaired good. That bunker is surviving forever, and I don't think Sheth is actually making the best decision position here, continuing to try to focus down this bunker. That bunker actually finally starting to take some damage, and it is now going to be going down. I actually think it would have been better in that position for Sheth to actually run right by that bunker and slip up into the main. There were a lot less defenses here, and I think with that many Zerglings in the main, I think that would have actually done huge damage there, and I think that was a big mistake by Sheth to sit there and try to focus down that bunker. But now Sheth is going to be getting up lots and lots more Zerglings. We do see that 1/1 upgrades are now done on his Zerglings. We do see that +2/+2 currently on the way. We do have Hive Tech on the way. That is a ridiculously fast Hive Tech. It is going to be Infestor play here from Sheth, as we do have that third base now being taken. I am looking for that Infestation Pit. It looks like there is going to be a drop here, and there's the Infestation Pit. Pathogen Glands just now completing. We do have Infestors on the way, and Sheth now going to be starting to take down the Destructible Debris to his opponent's third base. But in the meantime, looks like Puma stimming in, manages to pick off a couple of Overlords here. Gonna have to pick up very soon, and a little bit of miscontrol there from Puma, as he does lose a few more Marines than he should have. In the meantime, moving forward with a small group of Marines at the front, gonna start to clear that creep. Once again, continuing to push the creep back despite his small army. It is these small advantages that Puma's going for right now. Not going for any kind of big attacks, not gonna be driven into some kind of attack of desperation. Gonna be sitting back right now, trying to do lots of small drops, defensive oriented plays like bunkers and siege tanks at the front, while going for small drops to try to poke and prod and try to find chinks in his opponent's armor. Looks like Puma did try to go for a drop here, but now Sheth is fully aware of drop play, as he is going to start to keep some Zerglings there on that outer wall, as is a good move to do. Now Sheth is starting to take down these rocks down here. Looks like he's going to see the orbital command floating in for this third base. In the meantime, another command center actually going down here for Sheth, as it looks like he's going to, or Puma rather, as he's going to start to take that gold expansion. Most likely some Zerglings have been pulled back here, and they're going to start to focus down that orbital command, but Puma just going to be lifting that up right now until those Marines are able to clear these destructible debris and get in the base. In the meantime, look at that play from Sheth. Sheth, seeing that his opponent's going for lots of expansions, he says, well, if you're going to be taking a couple more expansions, then I am actually just going to take a few more of my own. Going to be throwing down an expansion at the gold, as well as a fifth at this base as well. One drop is going down at the back of the gold here, but good Overlord positioning here from Sheth, as he does manage to scout that, and he does get the fungal growth off, and the medevac gets trapped in that fungal growth, and it looks like with a couple of infested Terran Marines, he is going to be able to pick off that medevac. Brilliant play there by Sheth, and now Sheth is playing the game that he really wanted to play in the previous game. Now way ahead in the food count, as Zerg should be. 167 food to the 118 of Puma right now. We do see Adrenal Glands currently on the way here for Zerglings. That is, of course, the Zergling attack speed upgrade that you can only get at Hive Tech. We do see that +3 Carapace on the way, as well as +3 melee attacks, so those Zerglings going to be very, very strong. Spire Tech now on the way as well. Spire going to be completing here very shortly. In the base of Puma right now, we do currently have only 3 barracks up. Surprisingly, that is not that many barracks. Looks like 3 barracks and 2 factories currently out on the field. Those 2 factories with tech labs, but oh my goodness, that is a ton of Zerglings now coming across the map here for Sheth, and it looks like he's going to be going for a big attack. The third destructible debris have already been taken down, so he is free to go in, and there is not a whole lot here to be able to defend. These siege tanks are not even sieged up yet, and will Puma be able to get them up in time? Looks like he's going to be scouting up with 1 Zergling here, and I don't know. I think Sheth actually could have moved in here and caught these siege tanks off guard, but they still aren't sieged up. He's going to be poking into the front with a few Zerglings. Going to see that command center going down, but here comes the big Zergling attack, as all the Zerglings now moving into the third, taking down 1 siege tank. The other siege tank goes down. The bunker goes down as well, forcing Puma to lift up that orbital command, and now these Zerglings now moving forward with these Infestors trying to get a good fungal growth on those SCVs. Not going to be able to do too much damage there, and oh no! All the Zerglings of Sheth actually caught on the high ground. They're stuck behind those Infestors, as some of their Zergling buddies go in to die. In the meantime, Sheth burrowing some Zerglings all over, wants to be able to get vision all over the map so he can know if his opponent's moving out. I actually really like that play from Sheth, and Sheth actually manages to get the orbital command there with those infested Terran Marines, and it looks like Puma now going to have to instantly rebuild that orbital command. He's trying to take this gold expansion here, but with these burrowed Zerglings here, then Sheth is going to deny this expansion for a little while. These Zerglings here, notice what I was saying earlier, is that Sheth was going for a big counterattack or a big attack on this side of the map. So one thing that he could be weak to is just one big push straight down the middle from his opponent. So very early on, he threw these early Zerglings up so that he could utilize his mobility advantage. So if Puma just decided to go for some kind of big counterattack, that he'd be able to pull back in time. Now, while that was going on, I did miss one drop that was going on here at the third base, but Sheth did pull back there in time to be able to deal with it. Both players have taken a lot of workers down. It looks like Puma so far killed 31 workers to the 28 workers killed here for Sheth, but I would say that Sheth is feeling very good as he's currently sitting at 200 food. Puma moving out into the map, getting a little bit aggressive here as he's moving out onto the map with lots of siege tanks, and Sheth actually losing a lot of Zerglings a little bit carelessly there back down, but he is remaxing so fast. He currently has so many hatcheries up and running, macro hatcheries all over the place. The main is mined out. Greater Spire is now up. We do have a ton of Broodlords now in the middle of the map here for Sheth. Looks like he's going to be trying to take the middle of the map, and I don't think Puma has anything to be able to deal with this right now. Just now starting Viking production right now on the way. He needs to pull back right now and needs to play defensively until these Broodlords, needs to stall for as much time as he can. Doesn't want to engage these Broodlords directly right now until he has those Vikings right now, because this attack force is going to be very weak to Broodlords. Now, it looks like Puma did finally manage to get on the gold base, but Sheth denying that base there, keeping it scouted very well, wants to completely deny that base from going down at all, but it looks like Sheth now going to be throwing down some early infested Terran Marines. The reason for this is because he wants to draw any kind of siege tank fire. He drops down these infested Terran Marines so that they will absorb any hits from the siege tanks, and then he moves in with the Zerglings. Notice that is exactly what he did just there. In the meantime, the Broodlord's starting to move in right now. Corruptors are on the field as well. This is a brilliant play here from Sheth. One thing that you'll see a lot of Zerg players do is that the moment they get that Greater Spire up, they'll just go whomp and turn all of their Corruptors into Broodlords here. But by keeping up a small number of Corruptors here as well as Infestors, you can fungal those groups of Vikings and then start to focus down those Vikings with Corruptors. But now it looks like in the meantime Puma did go for a big counterattack here, but Sheth just going to be pulling back to be able to deal with it right now. Takes out all those siege tanks. Puma starting to move into this third base. He did manage to get that gold base down, but it looks like he is going to lose the rest of his attack force there, as it is now going to get cleaned up. Sheth still in a big food lead, still in a huge army lead, as he does now have those Broodlords still out. Starting to get down expansions all over the map right now, getting that gold resaturated there, starting to retake that gold, and now Puma is not looking like he is in a good position right now. He does have a group of Marines, does have some Ghosts now coming out onto the field as well. That is going to help tremendously against Broodlords with their snipe ability. 6 barracks now out on the field right now for Puma, continuing to research more and more at his engineering base. Currently has +3 infantry weapons on the way, but Sheth is just in such a good spot right now. He's got so many Broodlords on the map, continuing to produce more Infestors, continuing to produce Lings, but only in small numbers. He doesn't want to fill his food supply right now with Lings. He wants enough Lings to keep map control, to keep mobility, keep running around, trying to do any kind of counterattacks, things like that. And he wants some Lings out on the map here, exactly what he's doing, but he wants to start to focus on those higher tech units, things like Broodlords, Infestors, things that are more cost effective, more cost efficient. So, and that is exactly what he's going to be doing here, and I just don't know if Puma's going to be able to handle this right now. Puma does have a lot of Marines here, lots of Vikings. He did manage to get up a lot of Vikings very quickly, all off of just one starport, I believe, but man, Sheth just in full out tech mode right now, continuing, now that he's maxed, just getting every single upgrade that he possibly can. We did just have +1 flyer attacks finish. We do have +1 flyer carapace starting as well. Puma going to try to take this third base once again here, but now that this army is out of position, it looks like Sheth going to try to use that moment that his opponent is out of position to move in with a lot of Broodlords, and these Broodlords are moving out so quickly, or not so quickly rather, but very strongly across the map. This is going to be so hard for Puma to be able to stop here. These Infestors have so much energy, going to be able to fungal growth lots and lots of Vikings if those Vikings aren't spread as they really need to be. Here come the Infestors fungling all of those Vikings, and they all get caught in one fungal growth. We do have the Broodlords continuing to rain down terror on all of these Marines. These siege tanks starting to deal lots of damage to their own Marines. Ghosts trying to get off some snipes here, but the Broodlord count here for Sheth is just so high, and he's going to be remaxing so fast. Lots and lots more Lings being created back home right now, but his Infestors are currently out of energy, and the Viking count is still a little high here for Puma, so it looks like Sheth is going to be forced to retreat back here, trying to go for some kind of an attack here with some Zerglings here, but doesn't manage to actually break the front line of PUMA, now falling back here, and now, oh no, he's actually losing quite a few Broodlords, and I think he's going to lose a lot more here, as this is not good for Chef, but man, his economy is just so strong right now. I think he's going to be able to remax quite quickly off of the economy that he's been developing here for quite a while. Third, just a little bit oversaturated, but the natural pretty much mined out. Main also mined out as well. Needs to get those drones off of gas as they have finished mining that gas, and it looks like the Broodlords did all go down, but now Chef does have a few Corruptors on the field to be able to chase those away. There we go. One Broodlord still up on the field here for Chef, but holy cow, look at the macro of PUMA, as he has actually managed to macro up a decent sized little army here, despite having just lost his entire army and traded an army with his opponent. Chef not really getting these other bases up and mining. He got them up a while ago, but oh no, all these infestors, which are generally very cost-effective units, have not had the time to regain all their energy here, and oh, suddenly Chef is in not the best position right now, as he's now being forced to pull back. He's only got this one Broodlord here to defend, and it looks like PUMA might actually come back for the win in this game. That would be absolutely unbelievable if Chef loses this game. I cannot imagine that. We do have more Broodlords that are morphing in here on the back. 54 Zerglings currently on the production tab here from Chef. We do have more Vikings currently out on the field here. Look at that spread of those Vikings, but here come all those Zerglings. Are there now going to be moving forward and taking out the rest of these siege tanks. The Marines are going to go down as well, but it looks like these Broodlords are once again all maybe not going to be lost. We do still have a couple of Corruptors here for Chef, still staying way ahead in the food count, 160 food to the 85 food of PUMA, and now it looks like Chef immediately going right back on the offensive as he's going to move in here and deny this third base from getting too much minerals mining, and PUMA being forced to lift that orbital command. That has got to be so frustrating. His gold expansion is just about to be mined out. He is running out of resources there very quickly, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of other options right now. Chef once again leaving some more Zerglings there up at that third. In the meantime, he does still have this one Zergling planted at the front of the base. This is actually quite a hero little Zergling here, keeping a good tab on exactly what his opponent's doing. And PUMA actually going to be trying to take another base here, but he's going to get in here only to see that there is a hatchery in his way. Not going to be able to take that expansion for a little while, and Chef now pulling all of his Zerglings here to try to take down that orbital command. He will not be doing that anytime soon because these Zerglings do not know how to fly, nor do they know how to shoot up. They can only look up in wonder at that orbital command, and once again, Chef continuing to be very annoying. This is going to force PUMA to continually pull some of his forces back here to this third base to have to deal with this, as well as force his opponent to use scans just to take out these little groups of Zerglings. Oh, but it looks like PUMA might not have actually been aware of those Zerglings, and he'll be able to unburrow those, get a few more worker kills. If we check out the harvester count right now, holy cow, PUMA actually not in the best position, as he's only currently at 39 harvesters to the 87 of Chef, but Chef actually needs to get a lot of them out there right now. I think a lot of he's super oversaturated at his gold base right now. His third here, or his, I guess it was his third here, getting a little bit low, needs to get some transferring here. This is just a smidgen oversaturated here. Generally, for full saturation, you want between 16 and 22 workers, depending on how you really want to get saturated. So this is kind of the upper end of saturation here for Chef. He could actually spread that to this base here a little bit more, and he'd actually be getting a little bit more resources here. But holy cow, this game has been going on already for 31 minutes. We are currently 31 minutes into the game. Chef going to be losing some more hatcheries here, but that is all right with Chef, I think, for the time being, because now this creep is going to deny his opponent from taking those bases, and he knows his opponent really doesn't have a whole lot of resources left over to be able to do that much, and as long as he secures this base over here, he's going to be in a good spot right now, just because he's going to be able to mine a lot more than his opponent. Just needs to continually deny these two bases from his opponent. We do see that these Zerglings are going to come in here, but holy cow, 3-3 Marines are really darn good, as Chef is finding out losing a lot of Zerglings, but he's just continuing to remax so fast, and PUMA is pretty much out of resources here. Still has a decent amount at this third base, but man, I just don't know how long he can sustain against this much macro and this much production here from Sheth, as he's continuing to produce lots and lots of units, more and more Broodlords being constructed in the middle of the map. These infestors have regained lots and lots of energy, gold base getting mined out, and Sheth just retaking these bases like a boss. Corruptors out on the field right now, gonna be trying to deny these orbital command. Everything Sheth is doing right now is to try to deny these bases from being taken. This is all Sheth really needs to do, because if he can take this entire side of the map, we do have a drop going on here in the main, I should note, but it looks like that is going to be cleaned up here by Sheth. Ooh, does manage to get the spawning pool. That's going to stop production of Zerglings here for a little while, but Sheth no doubt going to be rebuilding that spawning pool here very shortly. There it is, another spawning pool going up here for Sheth, continuing to just be very, very patient in dealing with all this aggression again, because if he mines out this entire side of the map and denies these two bases from his opponent continuously, then he is just going to overall have more resources than his opponent total in the game, and he's going to be in a very, very good position there to be able to take his opponent down. And as we can see, he's doing a very good job so far. As we can see, 183 food to the 115 of Puma, still in a fantastic spot. Sheth continuing to just retake these bases. He's not really trying to mine on them very much, just keeps trying to retake them to deny his opponent from taking them, just because it takes a lot of time here for Sheth, for Puma to take down those hatcheries. It has to devote a lot of resources, and ooh, even loses a lot of units to those broodlings. Notice those broodlings are 3-3 as well. Orbital command trying to go down here, but it looks like that is going to be cleaned up, and Sheth actually being, I think, a little more patient than he needs to be. I think a while ago he could have actually been a little more aggressive with these Broodlords, but again, I think this is kind of his strategy right now, is to just kind of deny his opponent bases, wants to starve his opponent out. He's just going for strict starvation tactics right now, as he's pretty much just waiting for his opponent to run out of resources, and he says, you know what, keep dropping me, keep getting drops all over the place. I'm going to continue to just clean up your drops. I'm going to continue to mine out more expansions than you have, so that I'm going to overall have a bigger army by the end of the game. And ooh, beautiful scan going down by Puma, as he does manage to catch a lot of Broodlords, a lot of Corruptors now moving through the center of the map. Some Zerglings, some Infestors, once again, high-tech units. Small groups of Zerglings for scouting and denying these two bases, but mostly high-tech units, wants to remax on those as much as possible. We do have +2 Flyer Carapace on the way. We do see that the +2 air attack for those Broodlords is already done as well, and now he's going to start to focus down this gold expansion. Not going to be denying a whole lot of resources here, but now I think Sheth is just at a position where he knows that he's denied this base for just so long that he's going to have so many more resources than his opponent. Finally going for a big attack here. There are some Vikings here that need to be very careful. A fungal growth could catch them, as the Corruptors moving forward to deny those Vikings from dealing too much damage here, and now Sheth is just going to slowly start to apply pressure on his opponent, taking him down one base at a time, continuing to just tighten that noose so that the control of the map just becomes tighter and tighter and tighter, so that Puma continues to fight in smaller and smaller little areas. Holy cow, the ghost count here for Puma is rather high. He's trying to get as many snipes off on those Broodlords as he can, but beautiful fungal growths going down here by Sheth as he manages to pick off all those Marines. The ghosts all going down so fast despite being cloaked, and I think that is finally going to be GG here from Puma, as the Broodlord count is still decent. He's still got 3 Broodlords here, and oh man, are all the Corruptors actually gone? It looks like the Corruptors are actually gone here, but Puma just doesn't really have a whole lot of resources here to remax with. This is really all the army he's got. He's continuing to produce some Marines here on the production tab. We do see Vikings are coming out on the way here as well, but these Infestors going to be able to move in here. See that there isn't a whole lot going on here. I would imagine he's going to move into the main with those. In the meantime, I should note that there was a drop that went down at this base here, taking out that hatchery, but once again, I think Puma is really just struggling for resources here, as Sheth is now moving in, had a lot of resources saved up in the bank, still has a lot of resources, infested Terran Marines going all down in the main of Puma, finally starting to cut off those resources as Puma takes this base here, and it looks like Puma is going to go for the GG, and the longest game I have cast in a while. Sheth takes Game 2 of Sheth versus Puma from the NASL Season 2 Grand Finals. That means that they are currently 1-1, and we're going to be jumping into Game 3 to see who can take the next match. So stick with me, guys. Game 3 of Sheth versus Puma from NASL Season 2 Grand Finals coming up in a moment.